Hallelujah. I sense it, I see it. I see God beginning to bring this clash that I've talked about before, this clash of light and darkness. And as the season begins to rile up, because we're right on the precipice of it, guys. We're gonna be walking into it this next week. And I feel like those that are crying out to him, those that are worshiping the living God, it's like there's a bubble of protection placed around you. I see God going into the trouble and hand selecting and pulling out those that are seeking him. I see people standing there warring off against each other, yelling and screaming in each other's face. But there are those in the crowd that are on their knees worshiping him as the other ones are arguing and fighting with each other. And I see the Lord reach down and grab a hold of the ones that are on their knees and set them apart. And I just see him reaching into the crowd of those arguing on both sides of the argument. And what I see is I see one labeled the world and the other one labeled Christian. And they're arguing and they're fighting. And I see over the ones on their knees, not the label Christian, but the label faithfulness over them. And he says, those that are faithful to my presence, I will draw them out and I will set them apart for such a time as this. And though the world may be clashing, they will not be a part of it. And I see the group of believers over here that are on their knees begin to cry out in worship, begin to seek after his presence and not worry about the world's trouble. And I see a wave of glory come off of them. And as it hits those that are arguing, they're all stopped dead in their tracks. And I hear the Lord say this: I will cause to cease that which was caused to destroy. And I see as the people begin to melt away from their arguments, I see the enemy exposed. And as the crowd drifts away, I can see the enemy standing in the crowd. And as I see the enemy standing in the crowd, I see that the enemy is now exposed. And as he looks to his left and his right, he realizes that he's uncovered. And I literally see him just melt away into the ground. He melts away into the ground and disappears. And I hear the Lord say that the enemy will retreat for a season. And as the enemy retreats, I see the saints begin to rise up. And I see them walk back into the crowd that has now been distanced. And I see them come, and it's like the crowd is waking up for the first time. I literally see them coming out of a deep slumber. And they're looking around like they don't know why they were fighting, why they were arguing, what was happening. And I see as the saints begin to talk to them, that I see their names change. And the labels change to the faithful. And I see that as that clash begins to happen, that those that were faithful, that weren't a part of the argument, that weren't a part of the divisiveness, are going to bring about a great harvest. And we're already seeing revival now, but we're going to begin to see our nation shift back into a nation of God. I actually see churches with standing room only, and there are people standing outside the door waiting because they can't get a seat. I see churches that had no anticipation of a second service having to offer a second service on that weekend because there's too many people standing outside that are hungry for God. And I hear people coming to the altar, falling on their face at the altar, and I hear them crying out saying, I didn't know. I didn't know. But now I know. But now I know. And they can't utter anything else but that phrase, I didn't know. I didn't know. And I see the Lord's hand just touching and going from person to person and restoring those that did not know. So in this season, hallelujah. So in this season that we're in right now, I hear the Lord laying down a challenge. Say, will you be the Christian in the crowd that wants to argue and fight to break through a season? Or will you be the faithful that seek after me alone? That's your two. I know that the people in this room are not the enemy. They're not the world's version. So you have two choices this morning. As we press into this next season and what I say comes to pass, You will either be the arguing Christian that wants to be on the outside, and you have your reasons for not fully engaging. You have your beliefs, and you will share your belief. You will challenge that, but you are not the faithful on their knees. Those are your choices. They are not gray. They are not gray. They are black and white.